Greetings, everyone. Welcome to AI Safari. I'm Mark Thomas. Thanks for tuning in. After a very short hiatus, we're back and more excited than ever about what's ahead. I honestly, I can't believe we're actually about to step into November. I don't know where the time has gone. Anyway, we've got some great topics lined up for the balance of this year. Things like how to hyperdrive your AI with graph, computer vision, art of the possible. And we're going to be chatting with one of our data scientists and the work he's doing in our AI Innovation Lab and more. So hopefully you can subscribe or just check back in. But today I'm very excited to have with us Chris Laffey. He's a senior principal engineer with Dell Technologies Edge Solutions. And we're going to chat about smart manufacturing and edge AI. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us. And would you like to give us a little background on yourself?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Hope all is well. Sure. So I've been in the IT space for 30 years, kind of evolved with the industry itself. Have, been in data center, ISVs, a lot of different roles across the years. So I've been with Dell for about a decade. Actually came in through a side door. I came in through VCE by acquisition and then through EMC to Dell. Done a number of things here, of course, but really it's been a journey for me from converged infrastructure to hyper-converged infrastructure to software defined, and then cloud, hybrid cloud, and now out to the edge. So it's been a fun journey. Gotten to do a lot of cool things. Have spent some times both in the field, office of the CTO, and in the COC. So had spent a lot of time in the organization and kind of evolving with it as we've evolved out to the edge.
That's awesome. So 3 decades of being elbows deep in IT. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I love telling people my first job, my sister owned a training company, was actually writing Windows 3 manuals back in the late 80s, early 90s. So.
Wow. Okay. That may be for another segment. So let's just jump right in. So there seems to be a lot of momentum behind smart manufacturing and peeling back the marketing veneer, if you will. How would you describe smart manufacturing and why is it so hot right now?
So I was thinking about this, and one of the ways that I like to kind of describe it in my own brain is we went through an evolution in IT around, and for those of us that came from the heritage EMC side, we talked about modernize, automate, and transform. And really, that's what factories are trying to do right now. They're getting more automation, into their environments. We're seeing a proliferation of sensors. We're seeing, a lot more need to drive that automation and to simplify the execution on the floor. They want to have operational efficiency. They need to drive, how can we get more from the production line? How can we, maximize the production that we're doing? They want to be safer. And by having these sensors that are proliferated, onto the floor, we need to aggregate those sensors. We need to actually respond to what they're telling us in real time. And we need to drive that automation and simplicity through it. That being said, as we start to see the need on the manufacturing floor grow, there's a need for better technology on the manufacturing floor to allow and to enable the companies to move in that direction. So kind of why it's so hot right now is because we can do so much more on the factory floor. And what our job is to do is to facilitate that without, eliminating the investments that they've made or having them reinvest in things that they've already done. B, create silos of deployments where they've got to, manage it from different interfaces or have many, many different things to manage. And C, unify it with the business goals and outcomes. So not also create another silo where we've got IT and OT being completely separate, but drive that nexus between IT and OT. So as technology evolves and the demand for that technology on the factory floor, when we talk about industry 4.0, smart manufacturing or the evolution there, we have to facilitate that bring that new gear down and help them to modernize, automate, and transform on their factory floor, just like we've been doing on their data center floor for a long period of time.
Uh-huh. And I guess it goes without saying that ultimately it could help any manufacturer improve their competitive posture, right?
Absolutely. And it's not only their competitive posture, but it's also how they interact with their customers, their suppliers, their employees, and really the process from end to end.
Got it. Okay. So what are some challenges? What would you say are some key challenges in implementing smart manufacturing?
So first off is that segregation that's been there, between IT and OT. Traditionally, we've been able to do things either with IoT gateways or with industrial PCs, and they had enough compute power and they had enough, performance in those envelopes to, deliver the outcomes that the customer was looking for.
Uh-huh.
But now when we have, things like GPU, TPU, NPU, the accelerators that are coming down that, we're working with to facilitate, that real-time or near real-time response to those sensors, that's a different look and feel of a device than they've had in the past. So helping them to understand that, giving them that extended power, and it's more of an enterprise feel to it, whereas OT was always kind of that smaller box feel that I was mentioning.
Uh-huh.
And driving whatever solution that they're looking to drive, that's new to them. And it's also new for our IT partners that we've been dealing with, reaching into that space where we haven't had reach before. So that unification is a challenge. Getting to that new operating model is a challenge, and deploying these newer technology and these newer outcomes where they haven't had to before also I see as one of the primary challenges. So it's a shift in thinking, it's a shift in operating, and it's a shift in the types of technical requirements that they have now that they didn't have before.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And so for those who don't know, OT is operational technology. Did I get that correct?
Absolutely, and I apologize. I forget. Yeah, it comes out of my mouth so often and so frequently now. I forget to define it again. So
I've got
yes,
the same problem. Yeah.
Operational technologies traditionally has been the production, manufacturing, warehouse, management. The PLC aggregation, your SCADA devices. All of the things that you hear on the other side of the world from technology, from a machine base, a production line base, and otherwise. So yes, operational technologies as inverse to information technologies.
Got it. Okay. So we talked about briefly, we introduced smart manufacturing, talked about some of the challenges of implementing a smart manufacturing solution. How does, and I hear this a lot too, just like smart manufacturing, I hear a lot about edge analytics and edge technology. Mm-hmm. So how does edge fold into, or does it fold into smart manufacturing initiatives?
It absolutely does. When we talk about edge, we're talking about where the data is created and where we interact and generate information. So, if you've got a production line, let's say, and it's running 24/7, 365, there's a need to respond to what's happening at that production line, virtually immediately. So if we have an IoT gateway, for example, that, is running our streaming data platform, and we're, ingesting this data from these devices, we first need to be able to respond to it in real time or near real time to make sure if something's happening at the production line level, that we're responding to it and we're solving the problem immediately. That's how we drive, one layer of operational efficiency. We then need to have some analytics right there at that edge space so we can see that. And then what we need to do is decide what information we need long-term, what information we don't need. So the long-term learning, looking at maybe a production line over time and seeing how it responds during peak performance, what its uptime, downtime looks like, starts to give us some design plans. It starts to give us, not only the predictive maintenance and so forth when we're starting to see the sensors start to vibrate or it's getting hot or whatever it is, but we also want to look at the performance over the long term. So we stream that data to the cloud, or we stream that data to, back to the data center, and we can run that long-term learning and those long-term analytics against it and get even more insight. So the value of the data, somebody called it a bathtub chart, right? So it's really high in the immediate, and then it drops off over time. And then as you gather and aggregate more data, it becomes extremely valuable again. And we need to make sure that, we're low latency in the response right there at the edge, but we're also looking at it for long-term learning and keeping what we need to learn from. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. I think that some of the solutions that I've seen and some of the conversations I've had, they've been kind of siloed, almost like what you referred to earlier, in that we're talking to folks interested in deploying or capturing edge insights, improving manufacturing operations. And then you've got on the core data center side, those who are doing more, I guess, broader analytics across the entire organization, which includes the manufacturing floor. So it's, what you're saying is that the two edge and data center / core, they definitely integrate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When we talk about core edge cloud, this is exactly what we're talking about, is not only being able to move the data or move, applications between the three locations, but also to put data where it's going to be best acted on to give us that long-term value that we're talking about. And having the consistency of operations from IT to OT and, even the cloud in some cases is extremely important. If we can show people that we can have consistent management, orchestration, automation, monitoring across, both sets, across that IT, OT world, that consistency is extremely valuable to them in how they operate, because it's going to drive simplicity, it's going to drive standardization, and it's going to drive a commonality across it that's going to make the whole environment not only work together, but more efficient to manage and maintain.
Got it. Okay. So with all of this said, what is Dell's point of view when it comes to edge solutions, I guess, / smart manufacturing?
So there's a couple of different ways that we're working towards the edge, and I'm going to break it down in kind of two pieces. The first piece, our strategy is very simple. We are a platform, we're a technology company. We develop solutions to reach business outcomes for our customers. And that doesn't change when we look towards the edge. We understand that we have to get it to the right size, the right performance envelope, the right, to work with the constraints that we see at the edge, whether it's large proliferation of devices or it's zero IT, no hands and feet to be able to work with it, or it's low power, ruggedized, types of locations, whether it's dusty or wet or hot or cold or whichever. So we're looking at our solutions that we have now and our products that we have now, and we're right sizing them and we're aligning them for edge deployment. The next thing that we're doing is we're really focused on the roadmap, both from our ISV partners, those partners that we work with, but also internally with our BUs, whether it's our HCI BUs or it's our servers or storage BUs, to make sure that we are designing the next generation of edge systems. And then what we're also doing is looking at our dev set and what we want to drive from that management, orchestration, and automation plane to make sure that we're delivering an edge platform, in the future state that, aligns that across all of these different silos and all of these different pieces, but do it in the right footprint, the right, budgetary footprint, and drive the outcomes that our customers are telling us they're looking for. You see a lot of organizations, we've done it where we've developed solutions, they're cool, but they don't meet the need.
Right.
So what we really want to do, and one of the ways we've been doing this is spending a lot of time talking to our customers, our manufacturing partners, our ISV partners, so forth, to make sure what we're doing is relevant and we're driving the appropriate solutions. Because at the end of the day, it's about the applications and the business outcomes and driving that efficiency and that ROI for our customers. So we need to do it in a very metered, in a very definitive fashion.
Got it. Okay. Well, when you talk about value, is there an expectation? Again, every customer I talk to, especially at the business side or operational side, it becomes more about value. And so, do we have a point of view when it comes to expected value, time to get that ROI that we talk about?
Absolutely, and when we're looking at it from a manufacturing lens, we look at it as 30, 60, 90 days. 30 days to drive the proof, 60 days to get it to a factory scale, 90 days to get it to a global scale. So that speed to outcome is very important to our customers, and it's very important for us to facilitate. In the efficient, where we're driving, the ROI, the money, the profit gain, is really around driving that uptime and efficiency at the machine level. Things like I mentioned before, predictive maintenance, immediate response, so forth. So, thinking about it from a value and an outcome base, we talk a lot about value selling within our organization. What that really means is, do you know what your customer's business outcome is, and how can we match that outcome with the solutions that we're presenting to them? So, time to value is one thing, but also, making sure that they're getting out of it what they need to get out of it is probably the most important piece.
Yeah, and it sounds like the solution that you're referring to, the Dell solution, it really can help expedite that time to value. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because today is RTS Day. So that means that
awesome.
we've just gone GA with our Dell validated design for the manufacturing edge with Litmus. And it's an extremely cool situation. Feel free yourself or anybody that takes a listen to reach out to me. Hit me up on LinkedIn, shoot me an email, Christopher_Laffey at Dell.com. More than happy to provide information and dive into that solution with anybody as well.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And I'll include your information once I launch this, but cool. That's fantastic. I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
It's an important but fun question. Okay. And that's, what is your all-time favorite place to visit or travel to?
Have I had to go there yet? Because I'm going somewhere really cool in January, and I'm so psyched about it.
Okay.
So my 10th wedding anniversary with my wife was last year, and she got me a seat at Red Sox Fantasy Camp. All right. Now I'm a huge sports guy. I'm a huge Red Sox fan. I could go on about this for a long time. Now, because of the pandemic, it was postponed from January 2021 to January 2022. And I just got the list of players that are going to, former Red Sox players that are going to be there. It happens at the spring training facility about a week before the players start to show up for spring training. So any of the players that show up early to get workouts in we're actually going to be working out with and hanging out with. I mean,
that's awesome.
I've been all around the world. I would say, Costa Rica was great. Jamaica was great. Dominican, I've been a lot of places, to hang out, but I am so anticipating getting down there. You putting on a uniform again and getting out on the field with some people that I've watched play and admired for a long period of time.
Wow, that almost sounds like a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
That and you know, you threw Costa Rica in there. I've been there myself, and that's that there you're saying what you're going to be doing is better than Costa Rica. That says a lot in my book. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's pretty cool.
I remember sitting there eating lunch in Costa Rica and watching an active volcano, you know, erupting or minor erupting, and that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But I don't know, trying to get a hit off of Louis Tiant sounds pretty cool too.
Oh, you can't beat that. No, that's awesome. Well, Chris, thanks again for carving out time to hang out and chat about smart manufacturing and edge solutions. Love to have you come back and dig more into that. It was a pleasure, very informative. And thanks to all the viewers for tuning in. Please join us again as we continue to make our way through this AI landscape, one discussion at a time. Cheers.
Thank you.